Welcome to the Game Design Hacks. I'm Dale.
I'm Tom.
Actually, you're just a recording. I had to record the intro in post.
And I'm Tom.
In this episode, we're going to play Tom's Design Challenge, which is an ancient Greek-themed game with court intrigue and non-randomness built into its mechanics. So we got a group of friends together to play that live on this episode of the podcast. Are you as excited as I am, pre-recorded, Tom?
Let's get into it.
Is everyone ready to get started?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so the game is the Athenian Philosphical Olympic Pentathlon. So the pitch is, it's basically like the Olympics, but it's verbal and philosophical. So the best debater is the best sportsman. There's going to be two umpires, which hereafter will be referred to as magistrates. The two umpires are the Athenian magistrates named Archimedale and Aristotom. Some rounds are decided by the first magistrate to act, and other rounds are when a unanimous decision is made. A lot of these games are time-based, so there will be a clock. From now on, the clock is going to be referred to as the sundial. It's really important to refer to the clock as the sundial, because if you call it a clock, then you'll lose a point.
I thought your pun was great, by the way. Sorry I didn't laugh.
Suck up. You're not getting points yet, Rocco.
All right, cool. So we have a giant clock here. It's a sight to behold. However, from now on, it shall be referred to as a sundial, or you'll lose points. And the other one is there's Mario Party style persistent bonuses. So either magistrate can award a bonus point after any attempt for a particularly Greek answer, and a point will be subtracted for anyone that calls the clock anything but a sundial. So that pretty much sums up all the rules. Before we get going, I want to do introductions, but in order to do that, we need to decide a turn order. So how are we going to decide who goes first?
Who is the most Greek?
Yep, that's a pretty good metric.
So everybody pick a Greek-sounding name, and the most Greek-sounding name will go first.
All right, but who gets to say their Greek name first? We need a system for determining that.
All right. Everybody say the best Greek-sounding sentence, and then you get to be the first one to be the one to say the name first.
I'll just take any sentence or any name at this point.
Yeah, we're looking for name or sentence.
Hello, I like the Pantheon.
Hey, Rocco goes first.
Zeus.
So your name is Hello, I like the Pantheon 'cause Zeus?
No, I get the right to pick my name first.
Okay, yeah, that passes. Other magistrate, do we have unanimous decision?
Yep, I second it.
Cool, so Rocco, what's your name?
Drokos.
Drokos. Okay.
Drokos.
Yeah.
Drokos.
It's extended from the address, which is Greek for manly.
Oh, I reckon that's worth a point. Tom, do you think that's worth a point?
Yeah, sure. Now that we've established that we hold all the points, I'm going to hand them out lavishly.
Wow, very wise. Thank you.
That's, yes, how hedonistic of you. I'm just writing this down. So, Rocco, your name again was?
Adrokas.
Adrokas. Very good. The next person to interject gets to pick their name.
I love some baklava.
Hey!
So, Kayleigh, what's your name?
I'm going to go with Achilles.
That's pretty good.
That's very good.
That's too good.
Yeah, let's give her a point.
And Millie, what are you picking for your name?
Zeusette.
Zeusette.
Achilles and the Zeusettes.
Okay, cool. So, round one.
Zeusette wrong.
It's a podcast. Nobody knows how I spelled it.
Dale loses a point.
Okay, everybody gets a point for an excellent name. So I'm just gonna do that. We're all even at the beginning of round one.
Of course it is.
So we're going to start playing the sports, and I'm only going to introduce them one at a time. So I'll only tell you the rules before the sport begins. And so the first sport is going to be the philosophical javelin.
Ba, 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 ba.
Ba, 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 ba.
Whoop. Do you have a question?
No, I was trumpeting for you.
No, is that what that was?
Yeah.
Anyway, sport number 1, the philosophical javelin. Players get ahead by describing their javelin throw. The best throw wins. Their score is the number of 10-second blocks they take up to describe it, using metaphor and ancient storytelling. They can diminish previous throw scores during their turn in order to get further ahead. Either umpire can end the throw for waffling, extraneous hyperbole, or bad sportsmanship. 2 throws each. Total points are added to pentathlon total.
Right, that's it. So, yeah, you've got to describe your best javelin throw. You can put down other people's throws in order to get further ahead. And for every 10 seconds that you spend describing your throw, there's another point added.
So as long as possible.
Yeah, that's basically it. So you've got to describe your throw for as long as possible, and the longer it takes to describe, the more points you get. But if you waffle, then we'll subtract points. So, Drockus, you are going to be first.
Right.
So, describe your javelin throw, remembering the longer you describe it, the better you'll do.
Right, okay.
Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Adrokas takes off his robes, his toga, as it were, and the cold morning air stiffens his nipples. He sniffs with his large Greek nose in the air, and then leans down next to his javelin on the ground and lifts up some Greek dirt, rubs it in his hands. He holds it up to feel the wind and know which way he should throw his javelin. He picks up his javelin and he throws it up first. He watches it come down, and he grabs it and spins, the energy going from his toes up through his muscular leg and thigh, spinning around his hips, and then there's a whip, and in one strong lightning bolt, almost as if it were from Zeusette herself, he launches. There is a crack, and the clouds part. It was going to rain, but no longer, as this javelin has flown to the next aisle and cracked the stone that honors the gods. He is the new god of javelin throwing.
Okay, that's very good. And I have you at around about 65 seconds.
I was just taking some notes on that throw. Breathe through his large Greek nose. Is that racist?
It could be.
No, it honors. They get a lot of air, you know. I wish I had a larger nose.
All right, no, I'll allow it.
Okay, so do we have any notes on the extraneous hyperbole there, or is that that's fine? And no waffling? Any waffling judgments there, Tom?
No, I think he was getting close to waffling a couple of times, but he kept the throw moving forwards, and he didn't end up repeating himself. So no, I think that's a fair throw.
Yes, I think massive points for form there on the launch. It really sailed through the air, and then the landing there to get it into the rock, which is going to be a slight problem because that's the rock that they use in single combat, our next event. But you know, if we get it out of that rock, then it should be okay.
Look, it might make it more interesting, if anything.
No, we'll have the crew clean that up before the next event. But good throw.
Yeah, good throw, good throw.
Tally-ho.
I don't know how to notate good throw. We've got 65 seconds and it's approved. I think that's all we need to know at this stage. All right, so Kayleigh, it's your throw.
Okay.
And your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Kayleigh moves her shoulders backwards and forwards to stretch out and get her arms ready for her javelin shot. And she leans back, she holds the weight steadily in the hand, and she looks to where Rocco threw his javelin and lines up her javelin. She pulls back and she throws the javelin with all of the might of the lion that Hercules took down in one of his great feats. It pierces through the sky, the bronze glistening that beautiful Greek sun, and it has a slight twirl as it heads towards Adrocco's javelin, faster and faster, before finally piercing through the back of Adrocco's javelin and splitting it into 4 equal pieces and piercing the exact same rock.
It's a Robin Hood.
I could have done that.
I'm marking that as 70 seconds. That was very good. I think we're giving our first bonus point for extremely Greek reference there. So there's a +1 there, I'm just going to note. So, yes, a very good throw from me.
Yep.
I liked the, probably not quite as lavish in the wind-up, but, I mean, it soared through the air, and, there's no denying when something Robin Hood's like that it's a clear winner, and everybody cheered.
Yeah, well, I think she gets a point for diminishing a previous throw by literally shattering the javelin in twain, or whatever the split in 4 equivalent of twain is. However, it is interesting that in a narration of a javelin throw, you decided to throw it exactly as far as Rocco's was.
I was going for the sort of glamour of annihilating his.
Yeah, no, that's a big dick energy move.
Look, there was a lot of saws and saws, though, in there. I think I might consider that waffling, but that might just be me.
Look, I really don't know. Let's say that it's a very strong throw because it's exactly as far. Like, we will say you get a point for splitting the other one, but because it's exactly as far.
What about the time taken to describe it?
The time is greater, so that means that you're ahead by 2 then. Yes, that's a good point. So that's a +2. Brilliant throw, by the way. I particularly liked that you used the lawn bowls rule of if you blast it through, then, you win. All right, so Zusette, it is your turn to throw. Are you ready?
Yes.
Your throw begins in 3, 2, 1, and throw.
Okay. Zusette is startled that it is finally her turn, putting down the gyros that she is halfway through eating, wiping away the sauce from her mouth, and taking out from her robe a bow.
Yeah.
She places the javelin into the bow, pulls it back as tightly as possible, and aims it towards the cauldron with the Olympic flame. She lets go of the bow. It flies directly through the flame, catching the end of the javelin on fire, straight through to hit just before the previous 2 javelins, exploding in flames, completely eliminating any sign of the previous 2 javelins and removing any of the distance.
Okay, we'll call that 60 seconds. However, I think for flair there in the landing, that's pretty strong. You did manage to explode the entire, that next door arena where the single combat is meant to take place in minutes' time.
The flame is pretty powerful.
The flame's powerful, yeah.
And just sort of having a look, there is actually nothing in the rulebook saying that you can't use a bow to fire your javelin.
I was actually quite impressed when you let go of the bow and it still flew anyway.
Yeah.
Ancient Greek technique.
I imagine there was still quite a lot of sauce on her hands from the gyros.
Yeah.
It was slippery.
That's... Yeah, the definite +1 for the Greek reference there, and +1 for the put down. Slightly behind on the time though, so I'd say at round 1 we're still on Kayleigh's in the lead, but we have a second round. So, Adrocus, are you ready for your second throw?
Yes, of course.
Excellent, because your second throw starts in 3, 2, 1. Throw.
Adrocus hits the ground and curses the gods. How could they betray him like this? He looks specifically at Ares and says, "You will be with me this day, Ares." He brings up his spear, and he looks to the sky, and he looks to the sun, which Apollo himself has created. He closes his eyes and trusts in the gods, and he throws. It's silent. Nothing but wind. Everyone watches in awe as it disappears into the sun, and no one knows where it landed.
Okay, so I'm a call out of bounds.
Interesting. So can I just summarize this throw? You began it by staring directly into the sun, and
Yes, that's correct.
and then you lost your javelin.
Look, isn't the point of javelin throw to lose your javelin?
No, just again looking at the rulebook, it's to get your javelin further than everyone else's javelin.
Well,
Yeah, I'm going to invoke the Icarus rule here. I feel as though your javelin has flown too close to the sun and has probably burned.
cousins.
Interesting play, Rocco.
I hate to do this, but it does have to be unanimous. Tom, is this a out of bounds?
Yeah, no, this is an illegal throw.
Okay. Otherwise, I mean, it was looking good. The wind-up was great, and it went soaring. We all agree. However, in lieu of being able to measure it, we have to disqualify the throw.
Bad luck.
It is beyond your mortal minds, unfortunately.
Yes, look, it may come soaring past in one of the future events as it circumnavigates the globe, which we now know
Don't
is...
steal my ideas.
Well, we'll see that one in the discus, which is event 3, potentially. All right, Kayleigh, your second throw. Are you ready?
Oh, I think so. Just don't throw it at the sun, I guess, is the aim for this round.
You can throw it at the sun, but if you want to miss, is probably it. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and throw.
Kayleigh's is a little surprised by Adrochus's novel approach and instead picks up her javelin and looks towards where Zeusette's ended up the last time, and using some of that early Greek mathematical formulation works out the exact angle she needs to throw it so that it'll just go further and harder and spin just that little bit more impressively than Zeusette's. She lines it up, she takes a step back, and she pushes with all of her might through her arm and releases the javelin. It whistles through the sky, doesn't go towards the sun, absolutely avoids the sun, whistling through, making its way, and it goes just past Zeusette's. And then it lowers, so it's about five inches above the earth, and it just skirts along, leaving a trail of dust behind it before it very gracefully sticks just in to a beautiful green patch of grass, and that's where it will rest.
Lovely. I have that at 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Very nice throw.
So what do I put that as? 80 seconds. Fantastic. Exceeding your last throw by 10 seconds. And we don't have any issues with that, do we, Tom? It's a nice throw. It counts.
Yep, no, it went further than all the other javelins, which, again, I have to emphasize is the point of this event.
I'd like to point that I did listen to your feedback after my first throw, and
It's appreciated, but there are no bonus points for listening to feedback.
every reality show has lied to me then.
Excellent. So I guess pushing on, we've got Zeusette. You're in for your final throw. Are you feeling ready?
No,
No.
but go anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to. In 3, 2, 1, throw.
Zeussette, drunk off wine, hoists her robes up above her knees, grabs the javelin with both hands, spreads her legs apart so that she can do a underarm throw of the javelin. She lines it up, tries once, twice, 3 times she throws. It goes over her head, behind her, flying through the air, knocking down 9 of 10 pins, resulting in a split.
Tom, do you want to take this one?
I'm still struggling to work out the physics of this one.
Well, I think it's kind of like people who bowl with the ball sort of very close to the ground between their legs, holding it with the two hands.
Yeah.
Right, so you're going for accuracy using a very unorthodox method.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. Slow but sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, consulting the rulebook, nothing in the rules that say you can't do an underarm javelin throw.
Yes, that is true. It hasn't gone further, however, taking negative distance.
Yeah.
However, that's still better than infinite distance. So,
Well, we'll let the viewers be the decision makers on that one.
it's a podcast, so there's none of them.
Yeah. And also, this game has decision makers. It's me and Dale, and you don't get any points.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see about that.
Yes, we will. So 1 point lost for Adrochus for bad sportsmanship. So, Millie, Zuzette, I had your throw at 65 seconds. Mm-hmm. I think what we do now is we add up the total amount of time from all qualified throws and divide them by 10, and that becomes everybody's score. So, Adrochus, who has 65 seconds.
Posing.
For the first throw, that's qualified, so you have 6.5. We round that downwards to 6, so you have 6 points.
The crowd goes wild.
Oh, sorry, Adrochus, you have 5 points as you lost one for bad sportsmanship.
It is still many points.
It is still many points. We then have Kayleigh, who then has 70 seconds and 80 seconds, respectively. That's a pair of good throws for 15 points all up. And then 1 extra point for extremely Roman reference. And then Zuzette with 60 and 65 seconds, which would make 12 plus 1 for extremely Roman reference. So the scores are: Adrochus is on 5, Kayleigh is on 16, and Zuzette is on 13 after round 1.
It's early days in the Olympics, so it's still anyone's game.
Adrochus is not worried.
Adrochus should be worried.
You know not his plans, for you are only mortal.
You're all mortal. In fact, actually, there is another rule, and that is if you do become a god during the game, you will actually be disqualified.
Ah, good to know.
Yes. Gods cannot take part in the Olympics. The Olympic is for them to watch, not to play.
Yeah, we'll be taking urine tests at the end of this to make sure that there hasn't been any divinity.
Yes, any godlike substances. If anybody pulls something out of their arse, like an Ex Machina kind of thing, then that will obviously lead to disqualification also.
The urine test is in the mail. So
yes,
I took care of it while you're talking.
Thank you. We have officials for that. Don't just piss and put it in the post, please.
Right.
All right. So, Tom, do you want to run us through the rules for sport number 2, single combat?
Brr, 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 brr.
Ba, 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 ba.
Single combat. In 1-minute rounds, players have to be the strongest warrior in a game of one-upmanship. Players must describe how they would beat the previous player in single combat. If their argument is compelling, they win and a point is awarded to them. If they take too long, decided by first magistrate interjection, or they don't have a convincing victory, they lose, and an additional point is awarded to the previous player. Rounds last 1 minute on the clock. At the end of the timer, the last player can finish their argument, and the winner is awarded 3 points. There are 2 rounds. Total points are added to the pentathlon total.
Right, so it's basically single combat, and you've got to one-up the other player as far as you've got to describe your move. And yeah, basically, if your argument is compelling, you get a point. And if you take too long or you don't have a convincing victory, then instead of losing a point, your previous opponent gains an extra point. So this one is on the sundial. I know we called it a clock there. We're allowed to call it clocks. We're Greek inventors, and you're not.
I take issue with this.
You don't want another bad sportsmanship point, mate.
No. I'll lodge it through the official channels, of course.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So it's going to be a 1 minute round, and we're just going to go in the same turn order that we've got. So it's going to be Adrochus, then Kayleigh, and then Zusette. Adrochus, get ready to describe your first blow now. Just to start it off, your opponent will have been Zusette. Even though Zusette doesn't get to move, that's who you're striking.
Very well. I do this gladly and freely.
Excellent. Round starts in 3, 2, 1. And Adrochus, you're off.
Adrochus cracks his back and walks up to Zusette slowly in an intimidating fashion. He goes toe-to-toe with Zusette, noses touching. Intimidating. They cannot move.
Bam! Time wasting. You didn't get it. Next opponent is Kayleigh.
Just again with the nose. It's becoming a real reoccurring theme in Adrocho's narratives.
It is a divining character trait.
All right. So I feel as though the last one has kind of anchored what the experience should be for this one. The idea of this one is to kind of keep the pace going. You describe one blow, and then it moves on to the next person, who then strikes a blow onto you, and then it's continuous until the clock is done. And at the end, the last player can finish their argument, and then they're awarded an extra point. So it's just like describe your strike, and then we keep moving on to the next person, and then
Great.
Yeah.
What sort of weapons do we have for single combat, or is it like our physical bodies only?
That's a very good question. I would say that's probably up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just having another look at the rulebook here. There doesn't seem to be any limit to what you can use as a weapon or how you can strike your opponents.
Yes,
Excellent.
that's right. Tom, what do you think? Should we make it so that they have to strike a blow on the previous opponent, or do they have to strike both other opponents?
I said they have to strike one opponent, but maybe not necessarily the next one in line. They can pick their target.
Excellent. Okay, that's good. You can pick your target, but bear in mind when you pick your target that if your blow doesn't seem convincing, that your target is awarded the point. So, getting ready to start. Does everyone feel ready for the round 2 single combat?
Yes.
Somewhat.
Somewhat.
I think Zusette is trying to trick us into thinking that she is not capable of winning single combat. Sneaky.
She's playing possum.
Yeah.
Well, the round starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Adrochus picks up the spear from the rock that landed here last round and throws it squarely at Zusette.
It counts.
Kayleigh leans over, picks up a handful of dirt, and throws it directly into Adrochus's eyes.
It counts.
Zusette takes off her gold leaf wreath and throws it like a frisbee at Adrochus while his eyes are incapacitated.
It counts.
Adrochus drops to the ground on his back and rolls around, wiping his eyes.
It does not count. 1 point. 1 point is awarded to Zusette.
Kayleigh sees Adrochus down and grabs her spear and stabs down into his calf.
It counts.
Zusette runs towards Kayleigh, sliding down between her legs, hopping up behind her and kicking her in the back of the knee.
Ooh.
Counts.
Adrochus does a breakdancing spin, spinning on both hands and kicking away the spear that Kayleigh was bringing down into him, and also simultaneously kicking Zusette's face so that he lands in between them.
It's a double.
Kayleigh steadies herself and holding the spear in the center, whirls around and knocks Adrochus in the stomach as she hits Zusette in the back.
Oh, it's another double.
Zusette spins around, grabs Kayleigh by the arm, takes the spear, and... No, I lost it.
All right. That doesn't count, and it's time.
Adrocus vomits.
Hang on, it's time. It's time. And unfortunately, the 3 points aren't awarded to Zuzette for being the last contestant in, as the last round kind of petered out. All right, so that's the first round, and the scores are 3 to Adrocus, 4 to Kayleigh, and 3 to Zuzette. All right, so there are 2 rounds here. How's everyone feeling after the first round? It's time to pick yourselves up, dust yourselves off, and get ready to go again.
I am dusted.
Yep, everyone's taking water in their corners.
Yes, I've got someone patching a cut below my eye.
Interesting technique from Adrocus there, spending a turn rolling around on his back.
Yeah, there was no attack there, Adrocus.
It's all about making you uneasy. You wouldn't understand.
Yes, I've also felt as though that was a complete waste of everybody's time. A glorious waste of everybody's time. Okay, so we're going to go for another round. This time it's going to be Aristotom that calls whether or not it counts. Okay, so I'm still going to call the time though. We let that one go for 3 minutes, I think, just because it was feeling about right. We'll do the same thing this time. So Aristotom, are you ready to call this game?
Yes, a beautiful Aristotom in a bikini walks across the ring holding above a big round 2 sign, and the bell rings.
3, 2, 1, Adrocus.
Adrocus leaps up into the air, into the sun so that it's behind him, blinding his opponent, and falls down with a flying kick into Kayleigh's face.
That's a point.
Kayleigh holds her shield and sword, and with a mighty amount of force brings the hilt of the sword down on Zuzette's head.
That's a point.
Zuzette picks up her old half-eaten Euros and throws it at Adrocus's face, blinding him once again.
Yep, point.
Adrocus catches it in his mouth and consumes it deliciously. He then dashes forwards and pushes her to the ground. Zuzette.
Yep, point.
Kayleigh takes her shield and runs with it in front of her head, bent at the waist, straight into Adrocus's stomach, and tries to wind him and knock him over.
Point.
That's a double.
That's a double, yep.
Zuzette uses the wall of the Colosseum to leap up and triple kick Kayleigh in the face.
That's a point.
Amazing.
Adrocus will be behind Kayleigh as Zuzette does this and do a spinning back kick onto the back of her leg so she falls over, stabbing herself with her own weapon.
Yeah, point.
Kayleigh dodges aside from the sword and, turning onto her back, pierces the sword at Adrocus right near the groin.
Ooh, point.
Zuzette removes all of her robes, completely shocking everybody, and throwing her robes at both Adrocus and Kayleigh while they get all entangled in...
Yep, that's a double.
Adrocus
Time.
gets a raging...
Do not finish that sentence.
Just for the record, it was genuinely time, but I was about 1 second away from calling time anyway. All right, we are at the end of round 2, single combat, and it's time to announce the scores. What we saw right at the end there was we had Zuzette right on the buzzer, getting a 3-point, getting a third blow in there. So there's actually a 2 extra point bonus for having one on the buzzer. So that takes the final scores to Adrocus. In the first round, we had 3. In the second round, we had 3, bringing you to 6, which brings your tournament total to 11.
Oh, the crowd goes wild.
Kayleigh, you had a 4 in the first round and a 4 in the second round, giving you 8, which brings your tournament total to 24. And Zusette, you had 3 in the first round, a +1 for a reference to a Colosseum, and 5 in the first round for having the final score there. So that would bring your score also to 8, making your tournament total 21. So as it stands, at the end of round 2, Adrochus is on 11, Kayleigh is on 24, and Zusette is on 21. As we walk into sport number 3, the Philosophical Discus. All right, Tom, do you want to run through the rules on this one?
Yes. Bum, 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 bum.
Bum, 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 bum.
The Philosophical Discus. It's the javelin again, but now it's a disc. Players get ahead by describing their discus throw. The best throw wins. Their score is the number of seconds they take to describe it, using metaphors and ancient storytelling. They can diminish previous throw scores during their turn in order to get further ahead. Either umpire can end the throw for waffling, extraneous hyperbole, or bad sportsmanship. 2 throws each, total points are added to the pentathlon total.
All right, so how are we feeling? We're going to go in the same turn order. It's going to be Adrochus, then Kayleigh, then Zusette. All right, Adrochus, are you ready to step up to the plate and throw your discus in an entirely unrelated...
Adrochus
I said Adrochus.
is always ready. Ready before you ask.
Excellent. Well then, Adrochus, your throw begins in 3, 2, 1, and throw.
Meditating on the ancient words of Aristotle, Adrochus sits and meditates once again on how a disc is made. He forms one out of the clay in the ground, rejecting the ones given to him by the officials. He uses the heat of his biceps to enclose it and make sure that it sails soarly through the air. He grips it, knowing he has full well made the most powerful discus on Earth. He looks to the horizon, grips it tightly, his muscles bulging, and spins! He throws it, the wind from his second hand flowing through the air as he throws his disc, pushes it further. It flies out of the stadium, straight to the Pantheon, where it wedges itself into the edge of the column at the front.
Look at that. It's a 55-second frontal column mount.
As we all just heard, it's lodged itself inside of the very famous frontal columns of the Greek Pantheon.
Surely none could do better than this.
I have to double check the rulebook again, but there's nothing that says that you have to use a regulation discus. So building your own on site is perfectly legal.
Yeah, I think what impressed me the most about that discus, aside from its frontal column mounting, was probably, just the craftsmanship was fantastic. Who knew you could throw a 1 meter diameter discus?
Who knew?
Yeah, I mean, and just how sharp it was in order to, sever that frontal column is just astounding. So that definitely counts, and it's at 55 seconds. I'm going to give a +1 for the especially Grecian mention of the frontal column.
Not Aristotle.
Is there an Aristotle? We have Aristotom.
Yeah, it's his lesser-known brother.
No relation.
Brother from another mother.
As it were.
Excellent. So, Kayleigh, are you ready to step up to the plate?
I am.
Excellent. So your throw will begin in 3, 2, 1, and throw.
Kayleigh picks up one of the regulation disci because she knows that Aristotom and Archimede would absolutely have the best discus available for them to use. And gifted like Cassandra, she can foresee that her discus is going to clearly outrun Adrochus's. So wedging the discus on her palm, she makes a splendid series of circles and releases with a beautiful arc cascading through the sky, and it goes across the Greek Isles, goes further than Adrocus goes beyond that frontal column, and it slowly comes down, going past the Trojan horse, which is outside the gates of Troy, where they have been battling for 10 long years, and it hits the king of Troy, who is Priam, in the face, ending the Trojan War, giving the Greeks the win, and going further than anyone has ever seen a discus go before. Done.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
That was a 70-second throw.
Yeah.
We're going to have a +1 for the Trajan reference there, actually.
Yeah, I've got marks for Greek references, diminishing a previous opponent's throw, shameless pandering to us with the choice of discus, and also rewriting Greek mythology.
I was a little bit worried for a moment there that then we might have to dock a point on the Icarus rule, but luckily it did land.
Yeah, no, we can actually measure that.
Yes.
From here through the Pantheon to Troy.
Excellent. So that's going to be a hard act to follow, Zusette. Are you ready to step up to the plate?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Well, your throw starts in 3, 2, 1, and throw.
Zusette removes her sandals and begins to put on her newly designed shoes with a that closely resemble today's version of an ice skating shoe. Begins to twirl faster and faster, creating an entirely new Olympic sport. Spinning and spinning faster and faster, attempting a kickflip 180 in the process. Releasing her discus, it flies out of the Colosseum all the way through to Troy and through a beautiful horse made of wood that I believe was going to be a gift for somebody, smashing it to pieces, and in the shock of all the people running around, they lose track of the discus.
Oh no!
Oh no!
That was a surprise twist at the end. I think there was a lot of surprises in that, like particularly that after the Trojan War, there was still a horse around.
Yeah, the Trojan horse seems a lot less important after the King of Troy was demolished by a previous discus.
And I mean, if anyone's been in there for the last 10 years, then they're not in good shape.
Yeah, do we fall prey of the Icarus rule, where I believe the last words were, we lost track of the disc?
I only see it as fair.
Yes, I think that's fair. As is known from the story of Icarus, his dad lost track of him when he flew in front of the sun. Okay, so believe it or not, we have another throw each.
Great.
Unless everybody is so happy with their throw that they'd like to move on to the next sport.
I could go another throw.
Okay, Adrocus is stepping up to the plate to take his second throw.
Can he beat the frontal columns this time?
Adrocus, your throw starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Adrocus watches the others with awe, but then smiles knowing that it pales in comparison to what he is capable of. He sees Kayleigh's recognition of the official discs, and he decides to take 6 of them, and he compresses them down into one large discus, bigger than anyone has ever seen. It might be 20 meters across. He grips it with such force that his fingers crack the edge of it, and he starts spinning on the spot on one leg. He kicks on the ground like he's a skater. He kicks, he spins faster and faster. The wind starts to pick up around him. Debris from the crowd starts to get caught up in this tornado that he has created by spinning. In one lightning strike, he releases the disc. People from the crowd get sucked along with it, and it goes deep into the sky. People on other islands think it is a UFO, but it is not. It is Adrocus' discus. It shadows over Troy as it starts to fall on the very location the other two fell. Achilles is there, and he's had a fatal blow dealt to his ankle. He's lying there in pain, and Andronicus's discus falls right on it, unlodging the dislocated ankle and saving his life. And Achilles will now live to be a ripe old man. The end.
Okay, so now we have to figure out whether or not we measure from the center or the furthest point of the discus, as it's 20 meters in radius.
It has been a very bad day for the people of Troy.
As a Greek, I think everyone else will agree that the Trojans are our enemy, so who really cares if it's a bad day for them?
Yeah, that's excellent. So I had that as a 90-second throw. And for the life of me, I can't knock any waffling on that. There's extraneous hyperbole, for sure, but it was in good sportsmanship, so I'm going to let it fly. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, debating whether or not he deserves a point for Greek references when he delivered a blow to Achilles' famous vulnerability, his ankle. The Achilles ankle.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to add another bonus point for Grecian references. Yeah,
pretty
fantastic.
Close.
You're knocking them out of the park there, Rocco, with the Grecian references. Fantastic. Okay, so Kayleigh, you are ready to throw?
I am.
Okay, your throw begins in 3, 2, 1, and throw.
Kayleigh notices that the crowd is looking a little nervous after Andronicus's last throw, considering a lot of them got pulled up into some kind of tornado twister. So she decides to get the crowd back on side by doing a series of, stomp, stomp, clap, getting the audience into the mood. And she points at a young child in one of the front rows and she beckons him across. And Achilles is very confident with that first throw because not only did it go very far, but it saved an entire population that had been in battle for 10 years. So she brings the little boy down and she puts him across her shoulders so that he holds the discus with her, and together in harmony they swing around in circles and they release together, showing the unity of ancient Greece and the generation and hope that we have for the future of the empire. And the discus soars through the sky and the clouds part and all of the gods are looking down and smiling at Achilles and this little child who have just created such a beautiful moment in this particular Olympic event. And it was great. It lands with a smooth little bump, and it's just really satisfying. It goes really far.
Really far.
Really far.
Wow.
I lost track of where Andronicus went.
There was another 90-second throw, so I'm going to put that there. Tom, what are your thoughts?
Well, my initial thought is this sounds like this is this little boy's throw and not your throw.
No. Very carefully. His hand was on top of my hand. So the throwing was all of mine, but he feels as though he got to take part in the event. And who knows? Maybe this kid is going to grow up to be Hercules.
Okay, so the boy's hand is on the javelin? Is that
no,
what
his hand is on top of my hand, and I'm holding the discus.
Disqualified.
Okay. So he's on your hand, but not touching the javelin. Is that correct?
The discus, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah.
Don't talk back to the judges.
Yeah. I think she should also get points for inventing the chorus for We Will Rock You.
Yes, famous Roman rock trio. Emperor, I believe they were called. All right, so we're calling that 90 with a 1 bonus. Excellent. It did go really far.
Yeah, Troy's pretty far, but this is really far now.
So Zuzet, how you feeling?
Look, a lot has happened, so, I'll give it a red hot crack.
You feeling ready? Excellent. Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, throw.
Suzette is a little bit exhausted by all the events that have just happened. It's a little bit much. So she's looking around the Colosseum and she sees the chariots that are at the front gates and takes a bit of inspiration from these chariots and realizes that she really could probably take a little bit easier this round. And she grabs the discus, puts it down towards the ground and rolls it along like the wheels of the chariot. It rolls quite a way, a nice amount. It rolls not too far, but also not too close. It rolls just the perfect amount. That's it. Yeah.
Excellent.
This is the Goldilocks of discus.
I feel like it looks like a good amount.
Okay, so I've put you to 50 seconds for. Yeah, it rolled a good amount for sure.
Yeah, but it rolled not too far, which I'm pretty sure is not as far as really far.
I'm just going to have to look up the Greco numeral chart, and yes, I can confirm that not too far is not quite as far as really far in imperial measurements, which haven't been invented yet.
I mean, someone has to go and retrieve them.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. Someone will have to retrieve these, so we'll send out some assistance to Troy to ask for our discuses back.
Yeah, the Macedonians arrive at the edge of Troy, which has now been obliterated by a giant 20-meter discus.
I'll do my part and go and grab my own discus because it's just over there. So.
And we might need a team to dislodge that discus from the frontal column of the Pantheon.
Oh, you'll definitely need a team for that.
It's in there pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the scores are in the discus. We have, with Adrocus, we have 5 points for the first round and 9 points for the second round, giving 14 points total. Then that's with 2 bonus points for Greek references, bringing a very impressive 16.
I think that more than doubles my score.
Achilles, you have 7 points in the first round and 9 points in the second round, bringing it to 16 points with 1 bonus point for sucking up, 1 bonus point for Greek references, and 1 bonus point for going really far, bringing that to a total of 19 points. And then we have Zuzet, who unfortunately was disqualified in the first round, but in the second round had a pretty impressive, not too far, but not too close either throw, bringing a total of 5 points.
Just right.
Just right.
So, and I'm just going to do some quick tallying. At the end of the third round, we have Adrocus on 27. We have Achilles on 43. And we have Zuzet on 26. So it's 27 to 43 to 26, heading into the fourth round.
We must topple this tyrant.
It seems like nothing will stop Achilles at this point. If only there was some kind of weak point that you could all attack, like a heel, for example.
Oh, I believe it's an ankle.
An ankle, that's right. Yes, so that's what I was getting at. I managed to budge my own joke. Great. So, round 4 is the debate for Ascension. Tom, do you want to run us through this one?
Sure thing. Ba, 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 ba.
Ba, 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 ba.
Thank you. In 2-minute rounds, players have to be the strongest god in a game of one-upsmanship. Players must take turns describing how they would beat the previous god in a battle with their godly trait or power. If their argument is compelling, they win and a point is awarded to them. If they take too long, decided by the first magistrate to interject, or they don't have a convincing victory, they lose and an additional point is awarded to the previous player. Rounds last 1 minute on the clock, and the end of the timer, either the last player can finish their argument, and the winner is awarded 3 points.
Of course.
There are 2 rounds. The total points are added to the pentathlon total.
So we're not attacking each other, we're attacking a god?
No, that's incorrect. This one is just like the round 2. It's the combat again, but this time you're doing it by describing godly powers.
Okay, we have godly power, but okay.
I've already had godly powers.
Well, if you become a god, then you will be disqualified as the Olympics.
No, demigod, you see.
Okay, excellent. All right, so it's just like the single combat, except it's you're using godlike powers for one-upsmanship. So this game was inspired by the Sandman graphic novels, in which they have to describe a godly power in order to win in the same fashion. So we're doing that. So bearing in mind that this is a 2-minute rounds, it'll be the same as single combat. So it'll be Adrochus to start. Adrochus, are you ready?
Always.
Gladiators, are you ready?
Yes.
I think so.
That's everyone, by the way. I've always wanted to say that.
Wasn't sure if I was a gladiator or not.
Isn't that Roman?
Yeah, it's all old stuff, isn't
Same
it?
stuff, whatever.
Yeah,
Oldie times.
ye olden days. All right, so the round starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Adrochus holds his hand up to the sky and lightning hits it, coursing down through his body. He redirects it through his other hand.
It doesn't count. Nobody was struck.
Yeah. Yep, you were just electrocuted.
Very impressive, though.
Achilles.
Using the Apollo's ability for premonition, Kayleigh sees what Adrochus is going to do and grabs hold of his hand and channels that lightning bolt at Zuzet.
Ooh, it counts.
Zuzet pulls out her tiny little bow and arrow and fires it at Adrochus, causing Adrochus to fall in love with Kayleigh.
It counts.
Adrochus grips Kayleigh with all his might, holding her in place, saying, "My love, we will be together forever," and in doing so squeezes, crushing bones with the strength of Hercules.
It counts.
Achilles calls on the ability of Medusa, who is a goddess, and uses the snakes growing out of her hair to bite at Adrochus, as well as try and petrify him into stone.
It counts.
Zuzet lifts up Adrochus with her super strength and smashes him down into the ground, shattering his stone form into a million pieces.
Counts.
Each of those million pieces reforms into a tiny Adrochus, and they climb inside both other competitors and start punching their organs.
Boom, it counts, and that's time. So that's a double, and there's 2 extra points, so that was a 5 hit at the end there. Fantastic. So in the first round, we have 5 to Adrochus, we have 2 to Achilles, and we have 2 to Zuzet.
Well, this brings up a very interesting question now that Adrochus has Sorcerer's Apprenticed himself. How does that leave him at the start of the second round? Does he get a chance to reform, or canonically, is he a million tiny Adrochuses now?
They can all stand on each other's shoulders and create what looks to be one Adrochus.
I think it has to stand. So, in the next one, you might want to make it easier for you to do a chariot race. Just if you can clean that up on the way through. Okay, so is everyone ready for round 2?
I think so.
Excellent. Round 2 begins in 3, 2, 1, Adrochus.
Adrochus runs with the speed of Hermes, knocking down each of his little forms, knocking down the opponents by hitting their feet.
Tom?
Yeah, that's fine.
Achilles, using the strength and size of many of the gods, steps on all of the mini Adrochuses and annihilates at least 300 of them.
Thermopylite. And that's a point, yeah. Or is it 300 points? You only got 1 point.
There's a plus one for Grecian reference.
Zusette calls upon the sea, rising the ocean and drowning everyone, including all of the viewers.
Androcus makes a deal with Hades and brings everyone back to life. And he then uses the bolts of Zeus to bring life back to everyone's bodies. So their bodies and their souls have returned. He then uses them all on his side now to go and run into the stadium and beat the shit out of the other competitors.
Tom?
I'd say that's a double.
It's a double, okay.
Kayleigh's will not stand for this because she had the crowd on her side before, and so using whichever god can fly's ability, she goes above the fray and starts shooting lightning bolts and blasts of water and blasts of sun and blasts of moon and all of the gods' powers at both Zusette and Androcus.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that's waffling.
It is time, so we have to decide whether or not that counts as the extra points at time, or...
No, I think there was some waffling going on with that last one.
Okay.
Yeah, though I do think she should get a reference point for mentioning the Greek god that can fly.
Yeah, I actually did have that one down, so that's good. So in the second round, we have 3 points to Androcus, we have 1 point for Greco reference to Kayleigh's, and we have 1 point to Zusette. Bringing the totals for round 4 to 8 to Androcus, 3 to Kayleigh's, and 3 to Zusette, making the tournament totals 35 to Androcus, 46 to Kayleigh's, and 29 to Zusette.
If I can speak on behalf of one of my competitors, I think it's very ballsy that Zusette killed everyone, and I think that deserves an extra point.
Well, there's no witnesses, so...
Yes, but in killing everyone, unfortunately, she's killed everyone that could award those points. So
Yes, but now this allows me to rewrite history, so...
Okay, yeah, I'm going to honour it. So your 1 extra bonus point, your tournament total is now 30.
I rewrote it as 40.
I'm going to allow it. Your tournament total is now 40.
Invoking whichever Greek god rewrites points.
Can't believe that worked.
Okay, so we're into the final round. And the final round of the pentathlon, number 5, is a 3-rounder. Yes, that's right. The final round is 3 extra rounds, but these rounds only take 1 each. Okay, so this is the Philosophical Chariot Race. So, this one kind of works a little bit like Jackbox games. So it's a great idea for everyone to get something to write a note on, whether that's Notepad on your computer or whether that's a notepad in front of you.
I believe they're called tablets.
Tablet, that's what I said, yes.
Stone tablets.
Okay, you get an extra point.
Yes.
Do you use a notepad during Jackbox games?
No, I use Windows Notepad during Jackbox games. And then I email myself the answer and then copy it from my mail app into the Jackbox TV thing.
Send it with express post. Dear Mr. Jackbox, please find attached my answer to the latest Quiplash answer.
My answer is as follows. Open quotation, D's nuts, close quotation. Okay, excellent. So everyone has 2 minutes to write down a combination of horse, cart, and strategy that you're going to use to win the chariot race. At the end of the 2 minutes, you're going to read your combination aloud, and in the first round, Archimedale is going to award 5 points, and Aristotom's Choice will award 3.
Do we have the powers of the previous competition?
No, but you're welcome to come up with anything. I mean, you can but you should come up with it again from scratch.
Is this getting as many strategies as possible in this period, or one single strategy?
Is one strategy to take one horse and cart to the end of the race. But you got to try and win the chariot race. Has everyone got their riding instruments?
Yes.
Indeed.
Excellent. So the 2 minutes starts in 3, 2, 1, go. So pens down, and it's time to hear, again in turn order, how everybody did at their chariot race. All right. So Adrochus, why don't you run us through your chariot race?
Well, the strategy for my horse. So the the singular horse, is fed with the best carrots in all of Greece, grown from the armpits of Demeter, the god of seasons themselves. This lets them run for an eternity without tiring. The strategy for my cart is to mount the cart with the swords of Artemis, which automatically strike at other horses nearby, therefore disabling my opponents. And I was a bit short on time for my strategy, in which I wrote, yell profanities at the other races. But I think it will go down well.
I guess we didn't really, we didn't really get a description of the race, but that's perfectly fine. That's good.
Yeah, we did get a description, however, of the famous Greek carrot.
The best moussaka in all the land is made with these.
Famously a carrot-based dish.
Yeah, that's why you get them in Greek salads.
But horses love them. They're not for the Greek people, they're for the Greek horses. Have you ever had a Greek horse salad? It's just carrots.
I can't say I have, and, I don't know enough about Greek horse salad to dispute it either. So.
Exactly.
Great race. Okay, next we have Kayleigh's. Why don't you run us through your race?
Okay, so in terms of my horse, similar to Adrochus, I am also feeding my horse with something quite sustaining. But in this case, it's actually these really amazing sugar lumps that instead of just giving a level burst of energy, it's kind of like Nos in Fast and the Furious, and it'll give it a extra kick as at these 30-second bursts that I can sort of call on, and I can throw more to them. So that's the horse. The cart itself is I've got spikes out of the wheels so that I can sort of take down my opponents. And then in terms of my strategy for the race itself, I had that before the race starts, I very sneakily cut the leads on all of the competitors' horses so that their horse isn't actually attached to the cart.
Unsportsmanship.
It's a strategy.
Unfortunately, bad sportsmanship is not part of the rules for this event, so that's allowed.
Oh no.
Also, you were going to throw insults at us, so that's not exactly great sportsmanship either.
Well, I haven't done it yet, have I?
And then just as a final sort of really to ensure that I can maintain a lead, I was going to dump oil just all along the field so they get all slippy in case they actually manage to reattach their horses.
It's like a precursor to salting the earth, I guess. You've oiled the earth behind.
Yeah.
Look, there's a lot to love about this, including just the disgusting sportsmanship and utter sabotage.
Yeah, well, I really like the two-horse, two-furious aspect of the...
I know my audience.
It's all about family.
I've got here, in my notes, I've written it as sugary lumps. Zuzette, why don't you run us through your strategy?
Look, I focused most of my time on my chariot rather than the horse. So my chariot is actually a golden chariot that harnesses the energy of the sun so that it blinds the other horses and contestants, giving me a head start. Now, because I have focused all my energy on this massive golden chariot, I do realise that once I have a head start, it is quite slow. So I'm going to have to start losing a bit of weight. So I start having to remove a few of these golden ornaments, chucking them out the windows and blocking the path of the other contestants.
Wait, it has windows?
Yeah, it's a massive golden chariot. So once I inevitably win the race, the path behind me is littered with gold.
Oh,
So beautiful. It is beautiful.
it's quite metaphorical. I'm really tired after this round, so I guess we've got to deliberate a little bit. It is mine to award the 5 points and 3 for Aristotle, but you know, I just thought I'd deliberate a little bit here. Like there's a lot to like. Particularly, it's going to be difficult to ascertain whether or not the Golden Sun Chariot, which is massive, was able to use its head start when the horse wasn't attached.
No, it was. It was just a regular horse, though. I got the head start before they sabotaged my horse.
Well, that's a false start then, because I sabotaged the horses before the race started.
That is canonically what Kayleigh's established.
I also tied my horse's tail to the front of my chariot.
Animal cruelty, negative 10 points.
It still works.
I think the round, for me, the 5 points is going to Adrochus because his horse is tied to the chariot still. And and I mean, the endurance carrots are definitely pulling the weight there, and the profanities have got him across the line as well.
Ba, 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 ba.
Yeah, well, I mean, Zuzette definitely had an advantage by going last, but decided to create both the heaviest vehicle that she possibly could by being made of solid gold and enclosed if it has windows. But yeah, I guess the question for me is, could Achilles make up that difference with her Nox-powered horses?
And
Yes.
sabotage, yeah. So who's getting you 3 points, Tom?
Do I have to give them all to one person?
There's nothing in the rules that says that.
I think I want to give 2 to Achilles and 1 to Zuzette.
Okay, so at the end of the first round, we have, well, yeah, I feel like I should have split mine up too, but it's too late. I can't...
It's too late. I'm clinging to them.
It's too late.
I've already pocketed them. I'm biting them.
It's canon now.
Yeah, that's right. So Adrochus with 5, we have Achilles with 2, and we have Zuzette with 1. And now, in the second round, we're going to do the same thing again, except that the judges are flipped. So I only have 3 to award, and Aristotle has 5. But we're playing in reverse order. So it's going to be Zuzette first,
Oh.
followed by Achilles, followed by Adrochus. It's going to be 2 minutes on the clock. Is everybody ready to start riding?
Ready.
Yep.
Okay, time starts in 3, 2, 1, and get riding. Okay, pens down.
So, start of the second round. I believe we're beginning with Zuzette this time.
That's right.
So, my horse, I'm using my trusty horse from my last race. Now, my chariot, I've learnt from my mistakes, and instead of using gold to craft my chariot, I have crafted it into a large wooden horse-shaped chariot drawn by my previous horse, in which during the race a door drops down from the bottom of my horse-shaped chariot, dropping multiple other horses out the bottom that run the other chariots off the path, resulting in multiple wins for myself.
Seems like a flawless strategy to me.
Flawless victory, really.
So I like this. We've got the horse being led by the cart and the cart being led by the horse. We've got multiple horses and the cart is a horse. I think as far as metaphors go, you've managed to cover pretty much every angle there. So that's quite good.
Yeah, and it's a great defense if someone was trying to sabotage your horse.
Yes.
They have just got so many horses to contend with. It's
Achilles, how was your race?
It was really good. So I decided to bring in a horse that I've raised from a foal. It is a Pegasus, which, as you know, can fly. So it is also held onto my chariot with chain, unbreakable chain. And with my with my chariot, I decided to go for speed. So it's almost like one of those, like, you know, like a modern hoverboard. Like it's like a plank of wood with 2 wheels on the side. But I'm smart. I have my feet strapped into that, so I don't have to worry about that. That's okay.
Can I? So it's a hoverboard, but with wheels on the side.
No, the modern hoverboards, the things they sell now, they call them a hoverboard, but it's just wheels on the side of a board.
Oh, right. Yes. Yep.
It's like those Roombas that the kids ride around on now.
Yeah. So my strategy, obviously, is I'm going to fly up so that, oil and horses and ropes, things like that can't really incapacitate me. But as an added twist, I really got a buzz out of the crowd liking me in the discus. So I'm going to become Santa Claus and I'm just going to throw gifts to the crowd. And if I don't win the race, I win their love. So that's okay.
And their hearts.
Exactly.
You've won my heart.
Well, I don't even think we need to hear Androcus. Then maybe we just call this in my favour.
Look,
I think you do.
it's a valiant attempt at trying to, distract the judges. And look, there's a lot to be distracted by there, including the hoverboard with wheels.
Yeah, but also props for inventing Christmas 500 years before the birth of Jesus.
Christianity has stolen a lot from previous religions, so I mean, it kind of fits.
And just out of curiosity, what colour is your Santa Claus outfit?
I know that red sort of seems like the logical choice, but I'm not really a red person, so I'm going to go with gold.
Gold. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Recycled from the previous chariot.
Yes, I hammered it down very, very finely.
I think you get a +1 for carbon offset there with the recycling.
Yeah, at the very least, you should get some sort of tax refund.
Did we dock any points off you in a previous round? No, unfortunately, you've never been docked a point, so I can't actually give you.
Oh, I had waffling. I had that waffling point.
That's true.
Yeah, actually, that's right. So you do get a point as a carbon credit.
Excellent.
Yes. Adrocus, how was your race?
Let it be known, I have been sitting on my hands, literally, since you told us to stop writing, and I'm going to read verbatim what I wrote, okay?
Okay.
The horse is on lend from Hermes, the god of swiftness. It is indeed a Pegasus, a type of horse indeed. Cart. The cart is in fact a surfboard on loan from the great Poseidon, god of the sea. Lightweight and able to surf on ye clouds. Strategy. I've prayed to the gods for them to lend me their strength and their abilities. I use my Pegasus to fly over the competition. Get out of my head!
You get out of mine!
What about, how'd you go on the Santa Claus front?
So look, I'd like to let it be known that I'm not wasting my time giving gifts to the crowd. I'm focused on winning this race. And not only is my horse a Pegasus, it is the Pegasus of Hermes, the god of swiftness himself.
Hermes doesn't have a Pegasus.
He does.
He doesn't.
You know those wings on his head?
No, he has wings on
He
his
can take them
sandals.
off. They're also on his sandals. He can take them off and he throws it to the ground and they grow into a Pegasus. Little known fact.
Incorrect.
No, this is in fact a Greek fact.
Rocco, I watched Brad Pitt's Troy 3 weeks ago. There was no Pegasi coming out of the ground.
What do you think that thing was in the sky in that shot that wasn't meant to be there?
You got me there, okay.
Okay. All right, so Tom, you've got the 5 to award here.
Well, I thought that Zousette had a winning strategy at the start with her multi-horse combo. But it seems both other competitors have taken to the sky, which would sort of negate that strategy. So if I have to put it down between Achilles and Androcus, I think the weight of the unbreakable chain, the weight of the gold suit, and the distraction of giving gifts to the crowd probably would have slowed Achilles down quite substantially. So I think Androcus has it this round.
So you're giving all 5 to Androcus?
I'm going to give I'm going to give 4 to Adrochus, and I'm going to give 1 to Zuzet, just because, maybe one of those horses might have gotten lucky. And, it feels like she hedged her bets.
I also like the imagery of a giant wooden horse that's pooping out lots of little horses.
Right, so my thinking here for the 3 points was I don't believe either Pegasus can pull a cart.
That's why it's a hoverboard.
But you said that it wasn't a hoverboard because it had wheels.
Mine, I never said that. I literally said it is in fact a surfboard from the god Poseidon.
Yours is a surfboard. Those are commonly used on surf.
Do you know what clouds are made of? Water. Science.
Yeah, but it feels like there's a big gap between the dirt where you start and the clouds where the surfing happens.
Which is why I have wheels for the start, but I don't need the wheels. That's why it's a little board for in the air.
The god of swiftness, Pegasus, actually poops out clouds as it flies.
Now, I have deliberated, and I'm giving it to the horse-led horse with multiple horses in it. So all 3 points in fashion.
What a rort.
What a roar.
And both other competitors are losing a point for bad sportsmanship.
No!
Oh, come on. Rocco steals my idea and somehow he gets to take my points.
Actually, I'm sorry, that last point from either of them was not subtracted. As said earlier, this round doesn't have any rules about sportsmanship, so that's I cancel subtracting.
I stab Achilles.
It stands, but it doesn't do anything, especially because there's no further events to partake in. So we're going to get the running total. The scores after... Whew, this is going to be tough to add up. What have we got? We've got 9 points for the 5th round to Adrochus for a strong victory in the first round and a pretty strong follow-up in the second round. We've got 2 points to Achilles for their first round with a second place get, and we have 4 points to Zuzet with 1 in the first round and 4 in the last. Oh, that's 5 points. What am I doing? Okay, so it's 9, 2, and 5. Bringing our tournament totals to... Adrochus is on 45. Achilles is on 48.
Oh, I was already on 48.
You were on 46 according to this.
Oh, wait, that's 48 for those. Oh, no, it should be 49 because I've got that credit, the carbon credit.
Oh, you got the... Yeah, sorry, you did get the carbon credit.
I think you always keep the best records, and I would never doubt your judgment.
Too late, Rocco, your score's been read.
Yes, it has been read. However, there is still a medal ceremony coming, so I'm going to have +1 for kiss-assing there.
Yeah. The Sycophancy Award.
And then with Zuzet, we have 45 points. So it's 45 +1, so 46, 49, and 45. Going into the medal ceremony. Each magistrate gets to award 3 points for the following. First is the Leonidas Award. So this is the player with the most warlike approach. Tom, who's yours going to?
Well, taking the term warlike in its most strict sense, I'm going to give it to Achilles for killing the king of Troy and literally ending the Trojan War.
Yes, that's quite good. I tend to kind of agree with you there. I think that's probably one of the most warlike maneuvers that we have. There was, however, the attack on the column, the frontal column in the early place there, which is an affront to the Macedonians. So it's a close one.
I guess we also did have Zuzet killing everybody, which is pretty warlike.
Everybody was drowned. Yeah, that is.
That probably takes it.
No, that's one of the other horsemen of the apocalypse, not war. Which one does the drowning? Famine. Look, it's close enough. I'm going to agree. I'm going to call that Zuzet's point.
I'm still going to go with Achilles because that seems more like terrorism than an act of war.
It seems like I said 3 points each magistrate. This seems like it's going to unbalance things quite a bit. That's all right. This is Mario Party rules. Everything's going to suck because in the end, there's a bunch of awards that have nothing to do with anything that completely change the outcome.
Great.
Okay.
Great.
The Socrates Award, or the most Socratic award, goes to the player with the wisest approach. So, Tom, what do you reckon?
I want to give it to Zuzette for her final chariot approach with the multiple horses, because but I feel that's cancelled out by the underarm javelin or the disrobing in the previous rounds. So I think I'm going to give it to Adrocus, whatever his name is.
That's quite good. You're going to give it to whatever his name is. Look, I feel like the wisest thing that I saw in here was quickly writing down what Kayleigh said in the last chariot race and then saying the same thing. I think that's quite Socratic. So I also am going to award my 3 points to Adrocus.
I'll take it.
And last we have the Euclid Award, which is the player with the most calculated approach.
So this one I think I am going to give to Zuzette because I don't know what's more calculated than the distance of pretty far but not too far.
Look, I think it's useful to be specific like that, when there's a very far on the table. Look, there was some great calculated approaches there with the flying horses. I feel as though in the case of Kayleigh's, maybe got a bit distracted there during that chariot race with the Santa Claus stuff. But, otherwise, very focused. And also, another note on the horse with the nos there, the sugar lump nos. That's pretty good strategy.
I was very proud of that.
Yeah, very scientific.
Spent so long in a lab.
Then again, the endurance carrots, that's a nice reference there to the Legend of Zelda, and that's always a good way to win me over. But I'm not sure that it is the most calculated approach unless you were absolutely gunning for that Zelda angle, were you, Adrocus?
Of course.
Liar.
Yes. Well, yeah, because of that biting and calculated retort there, I'm going to give Kayleigh's my 3 points. Okay, so that is the end of the medal ceremony. And so everybody, talk among yourself while I verify the scores. But yeah, you've done very well.
Of course. Adrocus always does well.
That's so much better than the real Olympics.
Do either other of the attendees want my autograph?
Nah, I'm good.
Can you actually write your name?
Very, very well.
Just an X.
I have the final scores to announce. Is everybody ready?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, in third place, we have Adrocus with 51 points. Tied for third place, we have Zuzette with 51 points. And the winner with 52 points is Kayleigh's.
I'll take it. I'm like Steve Bradbury, I'll take the win.
Yes, coming from in front, Kayleigh's has won the day.
I was coming from in front, but that gap closed very, very, very tightly in those last 2 rounds. So I feel like it's got a Stephen Bradbury.
Yes, tripping over the ice skating shoes that Zuzette invented earlier in the...
And all of those tiny horses.
And the tiny, tiny Adrocuses from the round before.
A lot of tiny things.
All right, so that's the end of the Athenian Philosophical Olympic Pentathlon. Well done.
Yay!
Yay!
We'll have to do it again in 4 years.
So, what do I actually win?
You win an
My autograph.
all expenses holiday paid to Greece.
Ooh.
Yes.
I guess as the wife of the podcast, one of the podcast hosts, I'm just basically paying for that myself, aren't I?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the British government won't let us go on holidays at the moment, so they can't actually claim that prize. No.
Maybe we can just watch Troy again.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out why you guys watch Troy.
I think it's because I've been playing a lot of Hades and Kayleigh's been listening to a lot of Greek mythology podcast, so
It was the only thing Greek, that we could watch for free on Amazon.
Is it good?
No, not really.
no.
What about the Greek podcasts? What have you been listening to?
I listened to, there's a academic over here called Natalie Haynes who writes about Greek mythology, and she has a series called Stand Up for the Greek Myths. I can't remember what it's called, but that's very good. It's like 30-second history lessons on myths. Much better than Troy.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
But still not as good as this podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely not. Don't stop listening to this to listen to that.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, I've learned from other podcasts that it's customary to give you guys some space to plug your latest shows or any other things you would like to. So, Adrocus, why don't we start with you? What have you got anything you want to plug?
Adrocus will be in Greece for the next week. You may approach him for an autograph. That is all.
Fantastic. And Kayleigh's?
Kayleigh's is gonna, even though she's the first Christmas Santa Claus, I'm actually going to move it earlier in the year, so it's going to be in the middle of summer. So keep your eyes open for Kayleigh's coming to you on a hoverboard with Pegasus soon.
Christmas in July.
Exactly.
And Zusat?
Look, I would like to thank Kayleigh's. You've won my heart with all the gifts that you've given me. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the gold for my armour.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Anytime. Would you like
Sorry
me to...
for killing everyone.
Yep, Zeus is cancelled.
Look, I'm just going to run around and fire my little tiny bow at everyone, so you all love each other now. It's a lovely happy ending.
Yeah.
No more wars.
All right, well, I'm going to plug Dale Blackwood on YouTube because why not?
I also plug that guy.
Hey-o.
All right, well, thank you guys for being on, and that's the end of the recording. In the next episode of the Game Design Hacks with Dale and Tom, we're going to look into why Sonic didn't work so well in 3D. And don't forget, we've got a design challenge coming up where Tom does an RPG based on The Room, the Tommy Wiseau movie. Until then, I've been Dale.
I've been Tom.
Say your catchphrase.
Yibbity yibbity, that's games, folks.
Yibbity yibbity, that's games, folks. Goodbye.